Hello everyone and welcome back to Cracker Jack Cards. Today I have a pretty exciting video for you guys today. Right now at school I'm in history class, specifically US history, and we just finished up a unit on World War I. And the whole time while I was in that class, all I could think about was this piece that I have. So today's video, I'll just be showing you one piece that I have. It's very, very cool. It is a newspaper clipping from the Sporting News. I have it right here, and the title is Baseball's Part in the War, and that war being World War I. And this magazine is, let me show you guys. It looks like a piece of artwork, and basically it has these players around the edges of the border, and I will be going through those players one by one and telling you each their war stories. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I think a lot of vintage baseball card collectors are also history nerds. I'm kind of a history nerd myself, just a little bit though, not a whole lot, but history is definitely one of my favorite classes. But yeah, so this is kind of baseball history, US history, world history, all in one video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And just before I started showing you guys this, I just wanted to admire how nice this is starting to look back here. I'll do a better tour of some of my new additions, but if you look around, you can see a lot of glasses, musical menu, stuff like that. That's because this is actually a bar downstairs. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And I got that Ham's beer calendar back there. But yeah, I'll do a whole separate video on this and some of my other displays, but let's get into this. So I did a little research on everybody. Some of the people were harder to find than others. But yeah, this is not really going to be much of a baseball history video, more of a US World War I history. So let's just take a moment to appreciate how nice this looks. I mean, it is in rough shape, but wow, just a piece of history. Yeah, I got this in a collection a while back. I have a couple of videos on it. I've mentioned it in the past. It was full of, I mean, pretty much everything you see up here is part of that. It was full of memorabilia, magazines, programs, everything you can think of, calendars, anything. And this was one of them, and this is one of my favorite pieces from that collection. So yeah, let's just get right into this. So up first, we have Lieutenant Edward Klepfer. He served in France, as many of these soldiers did. You can see he played for the Cleveland Indians, and something notable that happened to him during his military service was that he was gassed. Next up, we have our first Hall of Famer on this magazine, Eddie Collins. He is in the Hall of Fame, and he served in the Marines. Next up, we have Henry Severide. Henry served in the U.S. Army. On his draft card, this is notable to say, Henry was a catcher. And on his draft card, it said he had brown hair, blue eyes, and he had broken right hand fingers, as many of the catchers did back in the day. I mean, they did not really have great equipment back in the 1910s. Next up, I couldn't really, let me see. Yeah, I couldn't really find much on Robert Shockey, at least his military service, but Urban Shocker, many of you guys might know him. He was the last Yankee spitballer, and he served in the U.S. Army, and he said, he claims that he was wounded by a bayonet to the head during his service. Next up, we have Louis Gisteau, and Louis served in the Army. Again, some of these guys I really could not find a whole lot on, and this was one of them. Next up, we got a couple of Hall of Famers down here. So first up, we have Lieutenant George Sisler. He is in the Hall of Fame, and he was in the Gas and Flame unit. Next up, another big name that you guys should know. Tris Speaker. He did not see any active combat, but he did serve in the Naval Reserves. And then probably the biggest name on this magazine is Mr. Ty Cobb here. He's in the Hall of Fame, as many of you know. He served in the Chemical Warfare Unit. He was exposed to poison gas during training, which resulted in a lifelong chest pain. He served in France, and he actually served under command of Major Branch Rickey. If you don't know who that is, I'm sure many of you do. He was the guy that signed Jackie Robinson to the Dodgers. Next up, down here we have Joe Harris. So Joe Harris actually has a pretty interesting story from World War I. He served in the Army, and during a truck accident, he broke both of his legs, 3 ribs, and his skull. In this picture, he looks pretty normal, but he actually has, if you look in later pictures, he has like a giant bump right on this from his broken skull. He had to get plastic surgery. And after this accident, I mean, this is like pretty much almost life-ending. He actually played another season of baseball after that. Next, we have Sergeant Otis Lambeth. He's one of those guys that I couldn't find a whole lot on. Yeah. And then next up is this little piece. This is just talking about the St. Louis Browns. Yeah. Joe Evans is another guy I didn't find a whole lot on. But there is his picture. Same with George Cunningham over here. And Ray Bates. Next up, we have Raymond Shelton. Another guy I could not find a whole lot on. And then Joe Jenkins, Lieutenant Joe Jenkins. Joe Jenkins served in France, and he also faced some intense frontline combat. And you can do more research on that, but it is kind of hard to find some of the stories, but he was, on Wikipedia it said he was more acclaimed in World War I than his baseball career, and he actually did face some very hard combat, frontline stuff. And I would definitely do some research on it if you're a history guy. Next up, we have Duffy Lewis. He did not actually serve, he did serve, but unlike Joe Jenkins, he did not face any combat. But I found this pretty interesting. He was a player manager for the Mare Island Naval Shipyard, which I thought was pretty cool. And J.J. Barry, I could not find a whole lot on him. He was a chief. Next up is another Hall of Famer, Clark Griffith. He also did not serve in World War I, but he did have a big part in it. He started this thing called the Bat and Ball Fund, and it raised $150,000, which back in the day was a whole lot. And he distributed baseball gear to the military. And actually, pretty interesting about this is one of the early shipments of this baseball equipment was on a boat sailing overseas, and it was sunk by a German U-boat, which is pretty interesting. Next up, we have Major Alfred von Kulnitz, and this guy is pretty interesting. I'm sure none of you have ever heard of him, but he's actually the highest ranking former MLB player in World War I. So yeah. And next up, and finally, we have Lieutenant T.L. Houston. He's also not a player, Clark Griffith actually did play, but he never played in the MLB, but he was a co-owner for the Yankees, and he also worked himself up to the rank of major, but he was not a player, so Alfred still has the title as highest ranking MLB player in World War I. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of a different thing than my normal videos. I hope you guys liked it. I really like history. I hope you guys do too. Yeah. Wow. I'm gonna try to post more, and I hope you guys keep watching my videos. My last video got a lot of support, and I hope you guys can support this one too. And I'll keep posting videos. I hope you guys enjoy these. I don't know when the next video will be or anything, but you know, it's whatever. And yeah, leave a comment, leave a like, tell me what you thought, and I'll see you guys later.